To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You're the boy from the circus.
So I have this thing with rolls.
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
The staff chose me, and I choose you.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, August 22nd, 2020. I'm Little Eddie O'Hare, aspiring professional fanboy.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, writer by night.
And we're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have no new episodes for you today because this is a news-only episode.
Yeah, we're covering all the news out of DC FanDome.
You got to say it like that legally. FanDome.
FanDome. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome is a Warner Brothers picture. They could have called it a Thunderdome if they wanted to. But they they probably didn't want to show Mortal Kombat on live internet streaming. That probably would have been. So yeah. But however, there were episodes that we recapped this week in our Lucifer season 5A special, which is available right now. We cover the first 8 episodes that streamed on Netflix this past weekend, and we had a lot of fun yesterday recording that, didn't we, Sarah?
We really did. It was great. It was fun because I had seen all 8 episodes. Ed was watching them in real time live. So it was kind of fun to watch both of us, me waiting in anticipation, rubbing my hands like, when's he going to get there? So it was good. It was good. We had a good time.
Yes. And so go check that out. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast and rate and review us, that helps more people find us. If you want to be extra helpful, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Wicked Theory, because we're part of Wicked Theory Studios. And there's a bonus podcast for subscribers, which is Ed Bonds with Bill. And I think we're going to be recording another one of those within the next week or two.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. There's all kinds of goodies for you there. And I think there's also a state of the podcast that Bill Sweeney and I recorded last week, which is drummed up certain interests that I'm probably not supposed to be talking about right now.
If you can't talk about it here, where can you talk about it?
Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to convince Bill to relaunch Wicked Theory. So I can't give any details because there's negotiations and improvisations that are occurring at the moment. So we're gonna let that play out. But also this is we promise after this week, because there is going to be a dearth of new DC TV content in the fall. We will be switching. DC TV Report is going to be switching from a weekly schedule to a monthly schedule. So the next time you will hear from us will be the week ending September 19th. And for that week, our retro picks are going to be the first 2 chapters of Adventures of Captain Marvel, a movie serial from 1941, featuring Billy Batson and Captain Marvel. It's the first live-action adaptation of a comic book superhero. I've been obsessed with it and since I was 4 years old. And Sarah, I can't wait for you to watch it and talk about it with me.
I'm really excited. I really am. So yeah, that's just a short little month away.
Yeah. And speaking of retro picks, last week we covered Supergirl, the movie from 1984, starring Helen Slater and Peter O'Toole. And Sarah, There was a question I forgot to ask you while we were
Oh,
covering
okay.
that movie, and I'm going to ask it
Okay.
now. Would you like a squid?
Oh my god. That was so weird.
Squid?
Oh, poor Peter O'Toole in the Phantom Zone.
Oh, squid? You sure wouldn't like a squid?
Oh.
What was up with that? Was that his thing? Was that just like a running gag that he had on the set?
I mean, it did feel sort of bizarrely out of place, such that it was some kind of inside joke.
Yeah, I mean, well, that whole movie's out of place.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So yeah. But yeah. So yeah, Sarah, are you looking forward to a month of relaxation?
I am.
Um,
Well, not relaxation because school's back, and I have
mm,
a lot of work that I have to do to get everything, up and running and get that going. So it's obviously not ideal that we don't have fresh TV because of everything happening in the world. I wish it was not that, but it'll be nice to focus on just no, I'm gonna miss you. I'm trying to spin it, but it's gonna be weird. But I'm looking
mhm,
forward. I'm looking forward to the time to devote to other projects and things. But it's not gonna be the same, and I wish it was
mhm,
otherwise. How about
mhm.
you?
I'm gonna try to text you as much as I can. I promise.
Okay.
Um, yeah. I'll pull you into all kinds of text conversations with my sister, trying to argue um,
The next TV
scone.
show you need to watch.
No, like scones. My mother's obsessed with scones. She just spent like $57 on this kit that someone recommended, which included some English style breakfast tea and a scone mix. And she was disappointed with the tea because she thought it was too mild. So she's making the scones right now, and she's like, "These better be good." Um,
I mean, any scones are good. I feel like it's hard to go wrong with a scone, but I hope it's magic.
oh, you'd be surprised. You would be surprised. Scones can be a very dangerous proposition. Scones can be dangerous.
Have you been watching too much James Bond?
No, well, he doesn't have scones too much. His breakfast is like figs, yogurt, and like scotch. Yeah, he's all about those vodka martinis. Uh and cigarettes, depending on which era you're watching. Um so yeah, but enough with the chit chat. Let's get to the hard news. Let's start with the news.
All right, time for the news. Um, let's start with Lucifer, which is theoretically still airing. I mean, it's on Netflix, it's fresh. So let's do some fresh news and then we'll move into the DC FanDome stuff. So, Lucifer. The showrunners say that the back half of season 5 will be the most emotional season yet. So 5B is going to be a little lighter, brighter, but there's going to be darkness mixed into all of that too. The Joe Henderson said that 5A was a little darker, and I don't think we want to do heavy spoilers here, just in case people haven't caught that yet. But 5B is going to be a little more family stuff. Remember, we talked about casting of God/dad. So we're going to see much more of that family dynamic and what that relationship is like. He's finding out what his kids have been up to. And in some cases, it's not good. So that's going to be really emotional. So that's 5B, which, reminder, we don't have a premiere date on. They had not finished filming all of the finale. So they have to do the season 5 finale, like half of it or like a fourth of it. It's so close to being done. And then, we can start working on 5B for production and dropping it. But then season 6 is pretty far away because they haven't even started filming that at all. But when they do it, they are planning on a Black Lives Matter episode. They want to come at it from an emotional rather than a preachy standpoint. And apparently they have a pretty diverse writer's room. That's a direct quote. And they ran a lot of it past like D.B. Woodside and Leslie Brandt. And of course, then Tom Ellis is the face of the show. So it sounds like they want to take that seriously. And I get it. It's a law enforcement show.
Mm.
It's been so on people's minds, and they do have a diverse cast. And so, I will be really curious to see what they come up with. And Dad only knows when we're going to actually see that, since it's going to be season 6, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I have seen DB Woodside post tweets from time to time, being very aware of Black Lives Matter and
Mhm.
telling some personal stories. So yeah, it does seem like that's coming from that's going to be coming from a place of knowledge.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a white person responding to this, but my
Mhm.
instinct is if DB Woodside has been involved, I trust that he would, help shape that for authenticity and for the message that he'd want to get across. And same with Leslie Ann Brandt; she's also very aware and politically active and outspoken. So with those two as the faces of the episode, I'm sure that's going to be thoughtfully done. So anyway, that's what's going on with Lucifer.
Cool. Okay.
Moving into the DC FanDome stuff. Now, Ed, before we do that, do you want to explain what DC FanDome is for people who might not know?
Yeah, so it's basically a Comic-Con replacement. So because DC doesn't have Hall H to showcase all of its stuff this year, they created a Hall of Heroes in a virtual DC FanDome. And it was basically like 8 hours of panels that they're replaying for 24 hours straight. I think it probably just ended about a couple of hours after we recorded this. And it was mostly stuff from the movie side, some comic stuff, and there was some television stuff that we're going to be talking about now. But it was just a big giant event.
Yeah, so
Y-
that's where a lot of this is coming from. Um, Obviously, all I want to do is talk about Chris Pine's parachute pants. Like, that's the only thing I want to discuss. But since this is a TV podcast, I'll steer away from Wonder
mm,
Woman Revelations and maybe start with The Flash.
sure.
So we've got a trailer for The Flash season 6. It looks like it was episode footage that they had filmed before they had to shut down and kind of rejigger how that season was going to end. But we've got the Flash fighting Godspeed. We've got Iris struggling to stay sane in the Mirrorverse. It's just kind of exciting to see fresh footage, even though it's going to probably be a while before we see fresh footage. If that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was excited and kind of surprised that this was. I guess you shouldn't be, but this was like the only CW show that we really got a trailer for.
Yeah,
Um,
I understand that they're not filming anything, but I really was surprised by the paucity of TV news that came out of FanDome.
mhm,
I guess they got movies to sell, so they got
mhm,
Robin Pattinson. They've got they got stuff.
mhm. Yeah, we got John Cena as Peacemaker.
So. We have literally 5,000 people joining the Suicide Squad. The trailer was 8 minutes long, and it was just names of new superheroes. I'm exaggerating a tiny bit, but not much.
Yes.
If each of them has 10 minutes of dialogue, the movie will be like 4 hours long. Oh no, wait, that's the Snyder cut of the Justice League movie.
Yes.
All right, we're not talking about movies. Moving on to Batwoman. This I thought was so interesting. Showrunner Carolyn Dries says that they considered just recasting Kate, and here's the actual quote. To be honest with you, I did consider the soap opera version for a hot minute, selfishly because we had a couple of episodes already written, and transition-wise, it would have been seamless. But upon further reflection, and Arrowverse producer Greg Berlanti helped me make this call, and he's way smarter than me about this stuff. He's like, I think we should just reboot the character in terms of reboot Batwoman as a different character, just to also respect everything that Ruby put into the Kate Kane character. So that is who to blame slash thank slash blame for not just recasting Kate Kane. It was Greg Berlanti who came in and said, let's just reboot. Or, like give a whole new Batwoman. So
Yeah, yeah. And I will say I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake, but we'll find out for sure next winter. So,
yes, hopefully, knock on wood.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to some, I say DC Universe, but really HBO Max probably news.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're going to have to get into that into the
Yeah,
swing of that.
yeah. Anyway, Titans confirmed season 3 is going to bring us some new characters, and those are Red Hood, Barbara Gordon, and Scarecrow.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. I saw it was Commissioner Barbara Gordon.
I am deeply into that. That sounds
Yes.
cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is taking after Batman Beyond. Although it's kind of weird because she's meant to be, traditionally she's about the same age as Dick Grayson. there have been some fun love triangles between Nightwing, between Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon, and Starfire.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, yeah. Red Hood. We've already met Jason Todd. We know him currently as the angsty Robin that's going on, but we've seen him go off the deep end. It seems like they're going to be taking a different tact, where instead of him dying and being revived and going underground and getting trained by Ra's al Ghul for 20 years or for like a decade and then resurfacing, they're just going to have him go straight into Red Hood mode. I'm interested to see. I think that could be a fun, interesting storyline.
I don't know much about Red Hood, so that I'm excited to get to see that. I do feel like I know a lot more about Scarecrow, having seen him in a billion movies and TV shows, but
Mhm.
always fun to see a new interpretation.
Oh yeah. Well, Red Hood, what's funny is Red Hood is basically the guy who used to be Robin. Batman thought he was dead, and then all of a sudden he just pops up. He just pops up 2 decades later, uh, and and say, and actually says, "You fuck you, Batman."
Wait, so that actually is legitimately a line that, Titans is famous for that?
Well, it
But
was
that's the legitimate character to deliver that as opposed to Dick Grayson.
yes.
Okay, cool. Too bad they already used that. Gotta go back
Yeah.
to that well, I guess.
Yeah. And his the Red Hood and the Outlaws has been a series. It was written by Scott Lobdell. I think there was New 52, and there was a version in Rebirth. Um, and I have enjoyed that series over the years. Although I'm sure it will be a very different interpretation on Titans. So yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
incidentally, you texted me that you wanted me to read some Green Arrow. Was it Longbow Hunters arc? And I just want to let you know I haven't forgotten that. This has nothing to do with Titans. I just am remembering you
yes.
recommended it, and I really would like to get to it, and I haven't had a chance to yet, but I will.
Yeah. Go check that out. It's a 3-issue miniseries, and it became the ongoing Green Arrow series in like the late '80s, and I think the first 25 issues or so um, are available on DC Universe. But even if you just read that 3-issue miniseries, it's very you could tell this is like one of the first times they decided to write for mature audiences. But it has a very much like a Sopranos era HBO vibe to it.
Everybody's in
And
therapy?
well, maybe I should say like a Wire era.
Okay.
Like mid-aughts. It's that kind of thing where it has it has some graphic violence, but but also some racy romantic storylines, and it to me it felt like it could have been directly adapted into a television show. But would have been much different than what we got on Arrow and the CW.
HBO Max might reboot Arrow as well. Can you imagine?
Could you imagine?
Can you imagine? You know what? Somebody somewhere just heard me say that, and now they're like, brilliant.
Okay. What's next?
Okay, next we have some Netflix news from Sandman. And Ed, I'm hoping you're going to help me out with this because you actually watched this panel. But it sounds like Neil Gaiman says that they have been perfecting the scripts in the quarantine lockdown, and they are starting to cast again. So that's some good forward motion. And the series is going to be faithful, but a little looser with the comic source. And the biggest change is going to be the time that it's set in, which we've talked about before. So you want to jump in with more context there?
Yeah, it was basically. I mean, because there was a panel on the Sandman universe, which covered because Sandman has its own imprint in the comics right now, and they talked a lot about the audio drama that they've done for Audible, and how that is a pretty direct adaptation, and he did mention that the Netflix series was going to be looser, but it was still going to be faithful. And really mentioned that instead of Dream being pulled out of the bottle in 1988 as he was, because that's when the comic first came out, it's gonna occur in 2020, and that's causing a little bit of updating in terms of what they're going to be doing with the storyline. He couldn't really go into any more specifics than that. But to me, it's the kind of thing where the fact that he's as involved as he is, and he's putting his stamp on this, I think is a very good sign. And I've enjoyed a lot of the adaptations, especially Good Omens a few years ago of Neil Gaiman's work.
Yes. Yeah, Good Omens was a wonderful show, and I assume you're talking about that and not an audio? Is that because they did Good Omens audio too, didn't they?
Did they? No, I did not know that.
I thought they did. I could be wrong.
Mm.
But the Amazon Prime show was amazing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yes. When Neil Gaiman's work is adapted well, it is very, very good, and I have no reason to believe that Netflix isn't going to knock it out of the park. So I'm very excited for that. And then I believe this is our last little bit of news, and this is for Pennyworth. And that is that we are going to meet Lucius Fox in season 2. He is going to be apparently, quote, pivotal in turning the story around. Turning the story around from what? I don't know, but we're going to meet Lucius.
Yes, and Lucius, as we know, is Bruce Wayne is Bruce Wayne's business partner, a guy who pretty much I don't know if he's the CEO of Wayne Enterprises, but might as well be. And was a friend of Bruce Wayne's father. So the fact that he would be buddy with Thomas Wayne and Pennyworth does make sense. This is interesting, and it wonders to me now, does this mean that by the end of season 2, are we going to see Pennyworth move from London to Gotham City?
I mean, we do need to get him stateside at some point.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So that's it for the news.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we don't have, are we choosing a news winner? The news I'm most excited about it.
No, but there was a winner on the Lucifer special. So go check that out. And so I guess we'll see everybody in a month. Oh, Sarah, I don't want to say goodbye.
I know, it's so sad. Well, you'll still find me on Twitter, and Ed, they can find you.
I mean, you could tweet at me,
He might answer.
It's the other thing. I feel social media feels like a very negative place right now, and I'm trying to get into a positive mindset. So maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll just throw stuff out there and see who responds. But
look, I tweeted about the Snyder Cut yesterday, so it's a very negative place.
All right. Well, that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Little Eddie O'Hare.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister show, The Wicked Theory Podcast. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam.